back to the Captain Vitus Show. Now, if you saw a few days ago, you saw I put out my top 20 favorite movies of 2014. Yeah, I had 20 of them. That's how great 2014 was. But no year is complete without its stinkers too. So I thought, I'm doing the top 20. Why not go to the negative side of things to do a top 10 of the worst movies I saw in 2014? Because there were some of those too. So that's what this is. This is going to be my top 10 worst movies of 2014, and I should preface this by saying I skipped January last year. I skipped January. I didn't see Legend of Hercules. I didn't see I, Frankenstein. So if I saw them, they would be on this list. I didn't see them though, so they're not on the list. There were a lot of shit boxes this year. A lot of horror movies. I don't go out to the horror movies. There are like 2 on here, but I'm sure there are a lot of movies that deserve to be on here. I just didn't see them, so they're not going to be on here. Ouija is not going to be on here, but I'm sure if I saw it, it would be on here. But let's talk about the things that are on here. Let's get started! So coming in at number 10, we have the latest from Adam Sandler. We're talking Blended. Hooray! We paid for Adam Sandler's vacation. Again. This is literally everything he's been doing lately. It's just, hey, pay for my vacation. We'll go on vacation, maybe we'll shoot a movie. I don't know, we'll just shoot something. And that's what Blended was. It was another let's watch Adam Sandler go on vacation with his friends kind of deal. The only reason it's so low on this list is the fact I didn't completely awfully hate it. It had a few moments that got me, but the amount of moments that didn't get me were incredible. And yeah, it's an improvement, but that's not saying much. Now coming at number 9 is a movie, believe it or not, I was actually really looking forward to. It was the story of one of my favorite Disney villains ever. I was so excited to see how she became the villain and how all this villainous stuff happened, and then the movie was like, no, fuck you, we're Maleficent. We don't give a shit about any of that. We're just gonna rewrite the canon. This movie betrayed me because I love Maleficent. I love Maleficent. I play Kingdom Hearts. She's the villain in the first one, and she's like awesome. She's awesome. She's one of my favorite villains, and this movie kind of ruined her for me. It kind of ruined the character because it's like, ooh, see it from the villain's perspective. And you're like, oh, cool. So basically we're going to watch Sleeping Beauty again, but from Maleficent's perspective. We're going to see her side of the story. That was a lie because it wasn't her side of the story. It was a retelling of the story that made her the hero. I want to see a movie about the villain doing villainous things. Not a villain turned hero, even though she's not a fucking hero. This movie was just... makes me mad. Makes me mad just thinking about it. God damn it. She didn't even have the decency to turn into a fucking dragon. She turned her crow into it. I remember when I saw the trailer for this, I saw it in IMAX. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my god, the dragon's there. And then I saw the movie. I was like, you can win me back if you do the dragon. She just goes, her crow turns into the dragon. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie and fuck all the money it made. Now coming in at number 8 is a movie that proves just how bad I was at this movie reviewing business when I started, and that's Endless Love. Now when I started this show, I felt like I went way too easy on movies. I gave this thing a C+ out of 10. Let's lower that score to maybe a D, because this movie was awful. Just another one of those romantic love stories between 2 people who can't be together because he has a dark past and shit. It's just, it's bad. It's cliched up the ass. Like, I really don't have a lot to say about this one. It was just, it's how I spent my night before the fucking Valentine's Day. Speaking of Valentine's Day, coming in at number 7 is how I spent my Valentine's Day, and that was with time-traveling Colin Farrell in Winter's Tale. This movie just made no sense. It was just... like, why? Like, why? Because it's about, oh, Colin Farrell, he's this burglar from all these years ago, and for some reason when his chick dies, all of a sudden he's immortal, and then he, like, goes to the future, and Jennifer Connelly's there, and she's like, oh no, and it was just bad. It was just bad. It made no sense. The one cool thing they had was the fact they had fucking demons in it. Russell Crowe played a demon. Will Smith played Satan. And they even managed to screw that up by just kind of glossing over it. They're just like, oh yeah, demons, but love. Maybe I'm just cynical about love, but love. So coming in at number 6, I mentioned I didn't see a lot of horror movies this year because they're normally horrid. I did manage to check this one out. I was actually kind of looking forward to it because it's a spin-off of one of the only horror movies to come out in the past decade to make me just be like, oh, that was actually really good. The Conjuring, and that's Annabelle. What's that I smell? Oh, I smell a fucking cash grab. That's all this movie was. I went into it hoping it would be good, hoping like maybe we get a little bit of that great Conjuring flair into it. No! This movie was built off dumb jump scares, dumb characters, dumb plots, dumb everything. Had one scary scene with an elevator where you saw this creature and you're like, oh, that's a cool creature. And then he fucking showed up a second time, but that was fucking it. Then he just left. The doll wasn't scary this time around too. Like, Annabelle was in The Conjuring for like the beginning 5 minutes and it scared the hell out of me. And this entire movie's about her and it's just like, like, why am I scared right now? Because she barely does shit. She barely does anything. It's about the Satanist who possessed her or something. It's just, it's bad. Everything about it is bad. No. No. Now we're at number 5. Yay, 5. Coming in at number 5 is a movie I felt just like, it hurt my soul to watch it. Because I was excited for it. Because I'm excited when I see a new Arnold Schwarzenegger movie coming out. I get so hyped. And then it comes out, and it's Sabotage. You want to talk about unlikable characters? Sabotage should be the poster child. Not a single character in this movie was likable. The plot was just horrendous. It was awful. It had this cool thing about it that you thought would be cool, and then it wasn't cool. The coolest part of this movie was literally the last 5 minutes where Arnold Schwarzenegger's in fucking Mexico wearing a goddamn cowboy hat and shooting motherfuckers. And I'm sitting there like, why couldn't that have been the movie? I would have paid to see that movie twice. Like, why couldn't that have been the movie? Instead we get this stupid, like, there's someone on the inside and they're killing us because of money. And it's just, it was so bad in the characters. I can't even just express how unlikable they were. They were awful. Awful. I'm glad David Ayer released Fury later in the year to just kind of redeem himself for the shitbox that was Sabotage. Coming in at number 4 is The Reason. This movie is the reason that now I will only review a movie a day after I've seen it. Or like a night after I've seen it. I give it its fucking time. Because when I started this channel out, I used to review movies right after I saw them. Right when I got home, I'd write the review. And that's a bad idea. Because right after you see a movie like, I don't know, Transcendence, you don't know what you're thinking. Your mind is boggled. You have no idea how you felt about the movie, so you give it a C+, even though it probably deserved a goddamn D. Such a cool concept. Ooh, Johnny Depp, he becomes this computer and he can do things, and it was just bad. Just bad. The entire plot was just, it was so boring. This was one of the most boring movies I've seen all year. It was just like, ah, shoot me, I'm so tired right now. The reason I gave this movie a C+ to begin with was because I didn't know how I felt after I saw it. I was like, I can't even think emotions right now. What did I just see? It was just a thing, maybe that was a movie, maybe it was a movie. It was just dumb. It was too long, and the plot was boring as hell. None of the characters were likable. Johnny Depp played a fucking plank of wood. It was just, it was bad. It was bad. Not a great directorial debut. It was bad. Now we're getting down to it. Coming in at number 3 is a movie I was looking forward to. I saw the trailers. I was like, you know what? That looks damn funny. I really like the concept behind it. I like most everyone involved. And then I got out of Sex Tape and realized it was a piece of shit. This was one of the most unfunny films I've seen all year. It was so just dull and bland. The characters were so one-note, unlikable motherfuckers. I couldn't stand them. I could not stand them. And I'm normally someone who loves Jason Segel. I don't like Cameron Diaz, and this movie really didn't help out with that. But I love Jason Segel. This movie made me hate him. Not like as an actor, I'll go see his next movie, but he made me hate him. I hated all the characters in this movie except Rob Lowe. He was the one thing in this movie where I was like, okay, I'll give it that, but I didn't laugh once. At the most, I gave it just a little, I'm just telling you, this movie, it sucked it out of me. It sucked it out of me. It's just, when you watch a bad comedy, it's worse than anything because you went to laugh and then you leave crying. Kind of the opposite of what they're supposed to do. Okay, so coming in at number 2, we have a movie I didn't even review. I didn't review this, I wasn't a reviewer at the time. I didn't see it in theaters, thank God. It was one of those movies that came home with my family from Redbox and we're like, let's just watch it. Who cares? And I watched it. And I'm telling you, this is the worst movie I've seen all year, but it's not number 1 for a reason I'll get into when I get into number 1, but this is definitely, this didn't even feel like a movie. It did not feel like a movie. I'm talking about Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. Did I say Sex Tape was filled with unlikable characters? Because this movie barely had characters. And I don't mean like, oh, there's one guy in it. I mean like these people didn't feel real. None of this felt real. It didn't feel like fluid story. It was, I can't even comprehend how bad this thing was. It was just horrendous on every single level. Not a single redeeming thing about it. It's another one of those stupid found footage movies where it's like, oh, we'll scare you because it's like, oh, what if this happened? What if you were just recording everything? It's like, it's played out. It's played out. Found footage isn't scary anymore. It barely ever was. Because it's unbelievable, because it's like, put the camera down, there's a demon chasing you. In this movie, it wasn't scary at all, not at all. I slept fine afterwards, like I slept angry because I was mad I spent time on this thing. But it's one of those movies that's just like, oh, we'll throw a million jump scares at you. That's scary, right? Oh, look at this guy. That's scary, right? No, it's not. It's not scary. This movie was just, it was probably one of the worst movies, not just of the year. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I'm kind of surprised it's not number 1. But let's talk about number 1 now. Okay, people, here it is. My number 1 worst film of 2014. And I'm going to tell you, it's one that's not going to surprise you. It's not going to come out of left field, because you know I feel this way. You know I feel this way. Because this movie, I actually kind of was looking forward to it. The trailers tricked me. I thought I was going to get into something cool. I thought, finally, this franchise is going to be good. They got a new cast. They got robotic dinosaurs. You got Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. No movie this year has gotten such a violent reaction out of me. I reacted to this movie violently. I was angry. I felt disgusted after I saw it because I realized this movie is going to make $1 billion and I contributed to that box office. Do you know how bad that makes me feel? That I contributed to this thing? Do you know how bad you all should feel along with me for contributing to this thing? This is what... I can't even speak. It's so bad. I mean, this movie was basically just a parody of what Michael Bay does. Michael Bay ruins everything. He ruins everything. He's just pow pow explosions, butts, ah yeah, let's get that sunset. We gotta get that sunset shot. How about under there? It's so bad. It is everything I hate about Michael Bay rolled up into one nearly 3-hour movie. This movie's nearly 3 hours of pure torture. I mean, you'd think a movie about giant robots, oh yeah, fighting, oh they're punching each other, oh that would be so awesome, right? Michael Bay found a way to make that boring. He found a way to make it boring. Not only did it make giant robots fighting boring, it turned 2 of what I think are 2 of the best actors working today, Mark Wahlberg and Stanley Tucci, it turned them into unbelievable, awful actors. Like, they're amazing. They're great actors. I love the both of them. I love the both of them dearly. And they were awful in this movie. Mark Wahlberg, he's an inventor. This is what he does. He's an inventor. This is what I do. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that. No, you're Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. You're sitting there inventing things? And you want me to accept that? And you're trying to talk... Meanwhile, Stanley Tucci's in some lab with the Transformium. That's what they call it, the Transformium. And he's just like, oh yeah, you can make a gun. It's like a pistol. Oh, you're scary now, Stanley Tucci, you're scary. And then he makes it into like the Beats pill thing. There we go. There's a segue. Product placement. This movie was more filled with product placement than like the 80s movies. This Total Recall is beautiful compared to this movie as far as product placement is concerned. Total Recall is an awesome movie. This one's not, and I feel bad. I feel awful that I just made that comparison. I'm so sorry, Total Recall. Go watch Total Recall, guys. It's a much better time. You don't need to watch Mark Wahlberg fly a giant alien spaceship into a Bud Light truck and then chug a Bud Light. Actually, that may have been one of the most redeemable scenes of the movie, because that scene stuck with me. It was hilarious. And to just round things out on why I hate this movie so much, this movie got such a reaction out of me that I became like that angry old man. I became the angry old man at the table, or, you know, you go over to your girlfriend's house, you're just like, oh yeah, I can't wait to meet your dad. And she's just like, oh, but don't bring this up around my dad, because he will go off on tangents for like an hour. That's Transformers 4 with me. You can't bring up anything, though. Like, normally it's like, don't bring up this around my dad. You can bring up anything around me. I will find a way to turn it into a rant on Transformers 4. Like, I saw a lot of other people with the same problem. It wasn't just me. I know the schmoes know it. We're having a barbecue at the time, and they were like, I think we all need to limit our Transformers 4 suck rants to 1 hour each so we can try and enjoy our lives again after we handed almost 3 hours of them over to Michael Bay, along with our $10 price of admission. Some of you probably spent 20. This movie took something from me. Took something from me. Something that I don't think I'm ever going to get back. Am I excited for Transformers 5? Hey everybody, that was depressing. I want to hear what you think. You've seen my top 10 worst movies of the year now. I want to hear what yours are. What are the movies that made you cringe? The movies that made you vomit out hatred? The movies that made you question yourself as a human being? Question if life really is worth living on this disgusting planet of ours that breeds things like Michael Bay. I want to hear what you think. What did you think of my list? What's your list? Put them in the comment section below. Let's start the hate train. Let's start the hate train, and I promise we'll be more positive tomorrow, but today it's the hate train, so hop on it. And of course, as always, if you liked the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I still got 2 more top 10s coming your way for the end of the year. Those are going to be really fun. Be sure to hit the like button, because that really helps me out. And be sure to leave a comment, because I love comments. And hey, if you like the video that much, you want to share my hate, consider sharing my hate. That would be very much appreciated by me. But most importantly, folks, stay classy.